A young woman sits perfectly still in the shadows of a dense forest as a massive python coils tightly around her. The snake unhinges its jaws and begins swallowing her alive. Suddenly, salvation arrives. Her father, a legendary emperor, bursts into the clearing. Seeing his daughter in the grip of the beast, he summons a devastating, glowing, mystical weapon, ready to sever the snake's head. But the princess screams out. She commands her father to stop his attack. She demands that he spare the innocent animal, deliberately allowing the python to continue consuming her. To the outside observer, this looks like surrender, or even suicide. But in the ancient Jain tradition, this is a calculated, ultimate spiritual victory, known as salakana, the strict vow of facing inevitable death with total, unbreakable equanimity. To understand the logic of allowing a predator to eat you alive, we have to look past the gore. We have to rewind her life and decode the radical psychological training that made this horrifying choice feel like absolute triumph. Princess Anangdhara grew up in an opulent palace, the daughter of the most powerful ruler on earth. But her tutors prioritized something far heavier than royal etiquette, the strict metaphysical laws of the universe. She was taught reality splits into two categories: jiva, the conscious soul, and ajiva, the lifeless physical matter. The human body is purely ajiva. It's a temporary house, separate from the true self, which remains intact even as the house crumbles. Connected to this is the strict mechanic of karma. In this framework, pain and suffering aren't inflicted by malicious enemies. They are the mathematical, inevitable payout of your own past actions and emotional reactions. If you feel anger or attachment, you generate your own future suffering. Separating the eternal mind from the physical body sounds highly logical in the safety of a palace classroom, but philosophy only holds weight if it survives absolute catastrophe. That catastrophe arrives abruptly. A lust-driven demigod kidnaps Princess Anangdhara from her garden and flies her into the sky, and after she refuses his advances, abandons her in a terrifying monster-filled wasteland. Most humans would panic. We would scream, cry, and curse the kidnapper who stole our perfect life. Anangdhara skips the panic entirely and moves straight into absolute emotional detachment. Applying her childhood lessons, she identifies this exile as the strict result of her own past karma. The demigod is just a mechanism delivering the bill. Anger toward him is mathematically useless. She spends the next 3,000 years alone in the wilderness, engaging in deep meditation. Her equanimity becomes so dense and palpable that even the apex predators of the forest lower their guard and pacify around her. Then, a realization hits her. Her physical body only has a few days left to live. She initiates salakana. She isolates herself to a 100-step radius, vowing to remain perfectly still and face her end without a shred of fear or regret. This brings us back to the python. Through her heavily trained perspective, the giant snake is not a murderer. It is simply an unconscious force of nature processing her temporary physical matter, her ajiva. By halting her father's magical weapon, she achieves two massive victories. She prevents him from committing the violent sin of killing an innocent animal, and she flawlessly maintains her own unbroken psychological state right through her final breath. The cosmic payoff is immediate. Her flawless equanimity triggers her reincarnation as a powerful celestial being, and later into Vishalya, a woman whose very presence possesses immense, miraculous healing properties. The psychological impact on her surviving family is just as severe. Witnessing her incomprehensible mental strength in the face of the python causes her father and his 22,000 sons to abandon their vast empire entirely and become ascetic monks. Let's be clear, this ancient text isn't a manual instructing us to walk into the woods and surrender our bodies to wild animals, but the mechanics of the story map directly to everyday reality. We cannot control the sudden kidnappers or pythons that inevitably show up in modern life, the sudden illnesses, the financial ruins, or the deep personal betrayals. Anangdhara's method points to a radical form of emotional sovereignty. It shows how taking absolute accountability for our reactions creates a hard boundary, separating our core identity from our temporary, painful circumstances. True liberation doesn't require us to escape the horrors of the universe. It requires us to master our own attachments so thoroughly that the destruction of our circumstances, even our physical bodies, cannot break our peace.